Hello everybody, this is Sinema77, horror and cult film lover, and I'm back with another video. I just realized a little while ago I watched the trailer for a new movie coming out this year called The Haunting of Sharon Tate, and it just made me realize that this year, 2019, marks the 50th anniversary of the Tate LaBianca murders. And now, ever since then, from between 1969 all the way through till now, there have been so many movies and TV shows and documentaries about Charles Manson, the Manson followers, the Tate LaBianca murders. Some of these movies really stand out as very cult films. There's the Helter Skelter murders. That was a big one back in the like the early 70s. And there was Jim Van Beber. Anybody who's into cult films and horror films definitely knows Jim Van Beber's, very low budget movie, The Manson Family. And but this one, and not to mention now too, now like I just said, I just watched a trailer for the movie The Haunting of Sharon Tate, which I believe has Haley Duff in it. And we also have coming out this year, there's a movie called Charlie Says that's directed by Mary Harron, which I believe more focuses on the women in the Charles Manson family, like Patricia Krenwinkel, Leslie Van Houten, Susan Atkins, so on, and kind of focuses more on them and who they were and everything else. And then, of course, everybody knows, if you follow film or anything like that, kind of the big one that we really got coming out this year is going to be Quentin Tarantino's movie, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which I don't know if, because I mean, if you're watching Glorious Bastards, I mean, Tarantino wasn't exactly 100%, factual about everything about, World War II. So I can't honestly say that his version of the Manson family and the events in that case are going to be handled matter of factly in this movie as well. So we'll have to wait and see for that. But anyway, though, it's over 2 minutes now, and I haven't even brought up, since it is this year, 2019, being the 50th anniversary of the Tate LaBianca murders, what we're going to talk about is the classic 1976 television movie Helter Skelter, based on the book by Vincent Bugliosi and yes, Kurt Gentry. The movie is produced and directed by Tom Grise or Grease. Teleplay by J.P. Miller and stars George DeCenzo as Vincent Bugliosi and Steve Railsback, who, for my money, I mean, you've had some really good and talented actors over the decades play Charles Manson. I'm not going to lie about that. You know, Jeremy Davies in the remake, which I actually have it here. This is another one of my DVDs that I no longer have the artwork for, but I do have the. You see there, I have the original TV movie here, the '76 TV movie, and then the remake, which does it say what year that came out in? Oh boy, when did that come out? 2004, the 2004 TV movie remake. So I have both versions of it here, and I am a true crime fanatic and stuff, and mainly I got that from my mother. She was really into true crime stories, and now going back, this movie here I've had quite a bit of history with. I think the first time I watched it was maybe like 1987, possibly 1988, but I want to say 1987 was the first time I watched it. And the first time I watched it, this movie scared the shit out of me. This movie scared me to death. It was just, and honestly, if you really want to see a good movie about the Manson murders and the Tate LaBianca, case and everything else, and the court case and everything else, I highly recommend this movie. And you know what? I mean, you're going to be surprised. This movie is absolutely chilling. I mean, this movie is super scary. And you've had a lot, going back to what I was saying, you've had so many actors over the decades play Charles Manson in movies and television and all this other kind of stuff, reenactments and everything else. But for my money, I don't think anybody is going to do as good as Steve Railsback there. Steve Railsback was, I mean, he just became Charles Manson. Now I don't know if Steve Railsback, did a lot of method acting for this part, but I mean he was Charles Manson. He is absolutely terrifying in this performance, and he's gone on to Railsback himself. I mean, he's a very versatile actor. He's been in many movies and television over the years, and he was in Toby Hooper's movie Life Force. And not only did he play Charles Manson, he played Ed Gein. Chuck Perillo made a really good low budget movie about Ed Gein where Steve Railsback played him, and he gave a really good performance in there. I can't honestly say if he gave a exactly 100% accurate performance of Ed Gein, but he was really good. And I unfortunately I didn't see it, but apparently he did a TV movie where he played Robert Blake, where they talked about the Robert Blake case, where Robert Blake was accused of either murdering his wife or orchestrating to put a hit murder out on his wife, and he played Robert Blake from that. But honestly, it's all like I don't know. I mean, just I could be wrong. One day I may find another actor who does it better. But for my money right now, it's like nobody is going to do this as well as Steve Railsback. And this movie it's a TV miniseries. It's 3 hours long. It's very detailed. It's pretty accurate to the book. Because I have the book. If you see my video where I show you my books on my Kindle collection, and I do have the book and everything, and it's pretty close to it. And just the oh my god, just the musical score on this is chilling. It's very scary for a 1970s TV movie. This movie is incredibly effective. It's very frightening. Not only I mean Railsback. Not only does he really kill the role as Charles Manson, but you have George DeCinto, who I think did a brilliant job playing Vincent Bugliosi. I know another movie in the remake. It was the late Bruno Kirby. He played Vincent Bugliosi in that. There's let's see who else is in this. You have Marilyn Burns from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Eaten Alive, and you know Future Kill, all that stuff. She's in here. She plays Linda Kasabian. You have so many other actors and actresses in this, but yeah, I just remember watching this movie and honestly, it's all like knowing that this was a true story and that this really happened. And being a little kid, I was scared to go to bed at night. I mean, I really was. I was terrified. Just the idea of, wondering could somebody come into my house and come and get me and try to kill me in the most gruesome way imaginable. And that's ultimately what happened. You know, you have the Tate LaBianca murders, who, also too, there are many documentaries and stuff. And I figure I'll go ahead and mention this since I have it. But one that, is actually pretty interesting if you want to check out is this one here. It's called The 6 Degrees of Helter Skelter, and it's pretty interesting. I mean, you can find this DVD anywhere. I mean, it's in like any place that sells DVDs, you're going to find this somewhere. And this one here came with extra movies. This comes with The Haunting of Fox Hollow Farm, Speck, a movie about Richard Speck. I haven't seen it yet. I'm familiar with the Richard Speck case. I just haven't seen the movie yet. The Amy Fisher Story with Drew Barrymore and Murder So Sweet. I don't know. I haven't seen all these yet, but anyway, though, yeah, we're talking about the documentary, which basically is what's it, Scott Michaels from Dearly Departed Tours. He basically it's a full length feature movie, and he pretty much goes into all this detail, and he's going to the sites where like he goes to the house where now it's completely changed, and because the Sharon Tate house was demolished, and somebody bought the property, they put up a new house there, so the house doesn't look the same. They changed the address. He goes to Spawn Ranch where the Manson family stayed. He goes to um, Barker Ranch in Death Valley, and he goes to all these places, and he's basically like interviewing people, and he's going around talking about He talks to the coroner, and the coroner gives very detailed information about how each of the victims was murdered and exactly what had happened to 'em, what killed them, and stuff like that. And he's like, at one point, it's like there's an eerie part in this documentary where he's all like, "Yeah, today's, the I think it was the 18th, the August 18th, and him and some other people, they're walking, and this is supposed to be at the time of night when Tex Watson, Susan Atkins, um, Patricia Corenwinkle, and Linda Kasabian, made their way up to Sharon Tate's home to break in. And as they're approaching the house and everything, they're approaching the gate. They see like people standing there, like people paying respects and stuff like that. And this is a very interesting documentary. If you're into the Manson family case and you're into true crime and stuff like that, and you kind of want to see like you know, kind of pictures of what it looked like then compared to what it looks like today. This is actually a pretty good documentary. I would say definitely check this out. But there's plenty of other ones. One is the most. You have a really like notorious documentary. It's I've seen it. It's on YouTube. It's just called Manson, and that was a very notorious documentary. Is made around the time of the Manson trial, and if I understood, I think that the filmmaker has had disappeared or something, or it is believed, or it was proven that the filmmaker was done in by members of the Manson family because with his documentary he exposed too much and he crossed Charles Manson or something. I don't remember. But yeah, that's a very interesting one to watch too. And you can see like Rob Zombie had reused parts of it and kind of dramatized it for his characters in House of a Thousand Corpses, where you have like, you know, like his wife, like the scenes where she's saying, if somebody needs to be killed, you kill him, because that's a Charles Manson reference and things like that. And yeah, pretty much every Rob Zombie movie has a Charles Manson reference and everything to it. So, I mean, Devil's Rejects, where Bill Moseley's character says, "I'm the devil and I'm here to do the devil's work," which is, what Tex Watson said when he broke into the house, and he said that to Wojtek Frykowski, before they started murdering everybody. But yeah, but this movie is very well made. It's very frightening, like I said, but a lot of information, and um, it really does delve into the case, and um, and it's amazing, because you find out, like, I mean, they really, Vincent Bugliosi and his associate, they had nothing to go on, and they really had no evidence on Manson, and you actually come to find out, really what a clever guy Manson was. I mean, never mind him being a con and a murderer or any of that kind of stuff. Um, he was very clever, and he almost pulled the wool over everybody's eyes. And the thing was the scheme that he pulled off of he wanted to create what he called Helter Skelter, which is a war between the blacks and the whites, where the blacks will kill the white establishment and then take over the earth, but then they wouldn't know how to run things, and then Charles Manson would emerge with his followers, and that um, they would take over the black race and they would run the world and everything else. And the idea was that it was so preposterous, but the fact that they actually got a jury to believe it and stuff. And I know like Manson enthusiasts and Manson supporters and stuff like that. I'm sure they really hate all that, but and I'm sure they definitely hate Bugliosi, So, but and Charles Manson, was it last year or the year before? He just recently passed away. But anyway, though, so yeah, just it's an interesting movie, and it's interesting how they get you to understand all of this, and how they come to find this out, and talking with people at the ranch, and well, of course, I mean, it's a dramatization, it's just a movie, but yeah, but just wow. So, and yeah, I think I'm running out of things to say about this. I mean, there's not really too much I can say about this movie that hasn't been said before, but like I said, Steve Railsback, I really don't think anybody's ever going to do Charles Manson better than he did. George DeCenzo, I think, does a brilliant performance as Vincent Bugliosi. He's so good in this, and just overall, it's really a good movie. I highly recommend it, especially like I said, this year being the 50th anniversary of Charles Manson, the Tate LaBianca murders and stuff. And now that we have all this, now we have all these movies coming out that the Manson family is going to be a big part of the subject matter. That I think if you really want to see something pretty interesting and factual about the case, then I highly recommend this. If you can watch the remake though, what I like about this one, the original movie was more about the case and the trial, and how they come to find out the information they find out. Whereas the remake with Jeremy Davies as Charles Manson, that was pretty interesting because that was more about what life in the Manson family was like, and kind of the story takes place more from their point of view, and is more about everything leading up to the murders and everything else. It wasn't so much about the trial. So yeah, both versions are actually really good to watch. And so like I said, if you're interested in this year being the 50th anniversary, I say, yeah, give this a shot. This, for my money, this is probably still going to be one of, if not the best, you know, the cinematic versions of the Manson family murder case and everything else that you're going to get. So, but also too, like I said, yeah, if you can find this, which you pretty much can. I mean, hell, I found this in a pawn shop for like 50 cents. So 6 Degrees of Helter Skelter. I think this is, if you're really interested in it and you're a true crime buff and you're interested in the case and, whatever, what the places look like today and everything else and how things have changed since then, give this a shot too. I think you're going to enjoy this as well. So, but anyway, though, that's going to pretty much wrap it up for this video. Yeah, I say go ahead and check these out. And um, anyway, there's not much more I can say about that. So yeah, Helter Skelter, definitely give it a look. So that's going to pretty much wrap it up for this video. This is Sinema77, horror and cult film lover. If you took the time to watch this video, I do appreciate you for doing it, and I do thank you for doing it. If you like the video, please like and subscribe. And if you're a true crime buff and you're have an interest in the Manson family murders and the Sharon Tate LaBianca murders, yeah, if you love that stuff as much as I do, then we'll talk later. And oh, by the way, just as a last note, and um, I do have the collection of Charles Manson music. That he was a musician, and that was kind of the thing. He a lot of it, a lot of where his killing spree and everything stemmed from was the fact that he wanted to be a musician, and he sang and recorded and wrote a lot of songs, and he even got in good with Dennis Wilson of the Beach Boys, and he got him to Terry Melcher, and Manson thought that Melcher was going to immediately offer him a contract and open doors for him and stuff. It, excuse me. And it didn't pan out, and so yeah, a lot of that is because a lot of that kind of ended up starting Manson on his killing spree. But anyway, though, it's like if you are interested, I'm just saying, it's all like I have a collection of Charles Manson's music, but if you are interested, it's on YouTube, so you can listen to a lot of his songs and everything else, and some of his songs too. When you just think about the context of everything, is some of his songs are kind of downright chilling. So songs like Garbage Dump or what was it? Was it Always is Always Forever or something like that? Anyway, though, I'm sorry. Anyway, though, yeah, that's it. So have a good night, and here's to the 50th anniversary. So goodbye.